The man looked around to make sure no one was watching, then jammed a tennis ball against the luxury car's door and popped it open with a hard push. He climbed inside, hoping to find something valuable, but there was nothing worth taking. In frustration, he peed on the back seat before preparing to leave, only to find that the door wouldn't open. Panicked, he kicked the windows, smashed them with a wrench, but nothing worked. He ripped off the interior panel with all his strength and reached into the door to find a release switch, only to discover that the inner structure was reinforced with steel, completely sealed off. In desperation, he pulled out a handgun from his bag and fired at the windshield. The bullet bounced right back and hit him in the leg. The glass was bulletproof. Gritting his teeth, he took off his t-shirt and tied it tightly around his thigh to stop the bleeding. Just then, a beautiful woman walked up to the car. The man shouted for help. Their eyes met, but she couldn't hear or see him. She simply applied lipstick using the window as a mirror, then walked away. No matter how much he screamed, it was as if the car was soundproof. He grabbed his phone to call for help, but it was completely dead. He collapsed in utter despair. 2 full days passed. In the sweltering summer heat, the car became an oven. With no food or water, he was dying of thirst. Desperate, he licked the condensation off the windows to stay alive. Suddenly, the car's screen lit up. The owner was calling. The voice on the other end asked, "If your kid stole something, what would you do?" But instead of answering, the man lashed out with a stream of insults. The call ended. Moments later, the AC blasted on full power, dropping the temperature to freezing. Shivering violently, the man ripped the t-shirt from his leg and put it back on. He stuffed newspaper into the vents and wrapped himself with floor mats, but it did little good. Ice began forming on his beard. Hours later, the AC shut off and the phone rang again. The same question. This time, the man said he'd take the kid to the police. The caller was still not satisfied and hung up. Time passed. A police car suddenly stopped in front of him. The man screamed with everything he had, pounding on the glass, running back and forth inside the car. But the officer didn't hear a thing. He just slapped a parking ticket on the windshield and drove off. By now, it had been 5 days. Trapped inside with no food or water, he was barely surviving. He pulled out the car manual, not to find a way out, but to tear out the pages and eat them. He drank his own urine. To distract himself, he played with stickers and drew on the glass. Then, just when all hope seemed lost, another thief showed up to steal the car. The man's heart lit up again, but the thief was hopelessly clumsy. Within seconds, a neighbor caught him, dragged him down, and beat him senseless. Just like that, the tiny flame of hope was snuffed out. After more effort, the man finally managed to carve a hole in the car door. He leaned into it and screamed, but his voice was hoarse and broken. It was like screaming into a vacuum. He laid his dead phone battery under the sun, praying for a charge. Then, the car owner called again. He told the man he had found his family, not to hurt them, but to give them $100,000 in his name, so they could live a good life. "You don't deserve such a happy family," the voice said coldly. And in that moment, the man realized the owner never intended to let him go. That money was his death payment. Crushed with regret, memories of all the people he had hurt came flooding back. With his last ounce of strength, he powered on the phone, not to call for help, but to leave a message for his wife.